At exactly 3:12 in the morning, he leaned closer to me in the dark and whispered the sentence he'd been using for months like a tranquilizer. "You're crazy." Not angry, not loud, not defensive. Soft, like he was calming a child having a bad dream. I stared at the ceiling, listening to his breathing slow back into sleep, and something inside me finally clicked into place. Because for the first time, I wasn't confused. I wasn't emotional. I wasn't doubting myself. I was certain. And my phone, resting quietly on the nightstand, had already saved the truth. We'd been together for 4 years, long enough that people assumed marriage was next. Long enough that we shared passwords, routines, and future plans. Long enough that trust was supposed to be automatic. But somewhere along the way, my questions started irritating him. Not big questions, small ones. Why are you always on your phone? Who were you texting so late? Why didn't you come home after work? Each time he'd sigh, roll his eyes, smile like I was embarrassing myself. "You're crazy," he'd say gently. "Why do you always do this? Nothing is happening." And slowly, carefully, he trained me to doubt my instincts. If I asked again, I was insecure. If I pressed, I was dramatic. If I stayed quiet, I felt sick. Gaslighting doesn't feel like cruelty at first. It feels like losing your balance in a room that keeps shifting. The proof didn't come from spying. It came from accident. He left his old phone in the car one night, the one he said he didn't use anymore. I noticed it only because it buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. I didn't touch it right away. But then I saw the notification preview. A name I didn't recognize, a heart emoji, a message sent at 1:47 a.m. Something in my chest went cold. The phone unlocked easily. No password. Because he never imagined I'd look at that device. What I found wasn't just messages. It was a backup. Photos he thought were deleted. Messages he thought were gone. Voice notes saved automatically. The cloud doesn't lie. It remembers everything. I sat on the floor for a long time, scrolling quietly, my hands shaking but my mind strangely calm. Months of conversations, plans, jokes about sneaking around, complaints about me. He described me as unstable, suspicious, hard to deal with. The same words he used to shut me down. He used to justify betraying me. I didn't cry. I didn't wake him up. I took screenshots. Every conversation, every photo, every timestamp. Then I locked the phone and put it back exactly where it was. I wanted to see how far he'd go, how confidently he'd lie when he thought I was still blind. For 2 days, I said nothing. I watched him text with his screen angled away. Watched him smile at messages he never shared. Watched him come alive for someone who wasn't me. And every time I asked something small, "You're crazy," he'd say. "Why do you imagine things?" Each time, he dug his own grave deeper. That night, he came to bed late. Smelled like a different soap. He slipped under the covers and turned toward me. I was awake. "Where were you?" I asked quietly. He didn't hesitate. "With friends," he said. I waited. "And the messages?" I asked. He exhaled sharply. "There you go again," he whispered. "You're crazy." That was it. 3:12 a.m. I turned toward him slowly, picked up my phone, and said the words he never prepared for. "Check your cloud." He froze. "What?" he asked. "Your cloud," I repeated calmly. "The backup you forgot about." He sat up. His confidence cracked immediately. "You went through my stuff?" he snapped. I smiled, not cruelly, not proudly, clearly. "I read everything," I said. "The messages, the photos, the lies." The room went silent. He reached for his phone, unlocked it, scrolled. and I watched his face collapse in real time. His hands started shaking. That's not. You don't understand. It's not what it looks like. I held up my phone. Do you want to explain this one? I asked, showing him a screenshot where he wrote, "She's paranoid. She'll never leave." His mouth opened. No sound came out. For the first time in months. He didn't call me craze. How long? I asked. He looked down. How long? I repeated. 7 months, he whispered. 7 months of lies. 7 months of calling me unstable. 7 months of rewriting reality. And her? I asked. She doesn't matter, he said quickly. I laughed. She mattered enough to destroy us. He started crying. Real crying. The kind men save for moments they lose control. I didn't mean for it to happen, he said. It just got out of hand. No, I replied. You handled it every day, carefully. He reached for my hand. I pulled away. Please, he begged. We can fix this. I shook my head. You didn't cheat once, I said. You cheated repeatedly and convinced me I was insane for noticing. That was the part he couldn't undo. Not the affair, the manipulation, the way he broke my trust in myself. I stood up, packed a bag. He followed me through the apartment, apologizing, promising therapy, transparency, anything. At the door, he whispered, I didn't think you'd ever actually leave. That was the final truth. I turned back to him. That's because you believed your own lies. I walked out. The messages came for days. Apologies, regret, anger. Then silence. I blocked him, not out of revenge, but relief. Weeks later, I noticed something strange. I trusted my thoughts again. I slept better. I stopped second-guessing my instincts. And I realized something important. The worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was being taught to doubt my own reality. When someone calls you crazy long enough, they're not trying to calm you. They're trying to stay comfortable. And the moment the truth backs itself up, the manipulation collapses. If this story resonated with you, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Share this with someone who needs clarity tonight, and tell me in the comments, would you have confronted him immediately or waited until you had proof?